Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. I'm back. If you've been watching the vlog for the past week or so, you know that I spent that past week in New York visiting old friends. I moved here from New York in January. It was nice to go back, and it was interesting going back as a visitor instead of somebody coming home. This is my home now, Tennessee. So now I just came home. It's a little, well, it's different. It's interesting, but it's good to be back. So first order of business today, and it's nice to be recording on my good old DSLR nice camera instead of the one that I was recording on in New York. I'm sure you noticed the difference. So here I am. First order of business, I want to welcome a couple of new subscribers I got, and as usual, I think I get alerted whenever I get a new subscriber, but if I miss somebody, then just forgive me, bear with me, whatever. I welcome all the new subscribers, but the two names that I have specifically, their usernames on their comments are R. Cole and D. Mark Dell. So welcome to both of you. Welcome to the family. Now, what I want to talk about today, it's one of those things that as I read it, it looks and reads too good to be true, but the source is legitimate, so I have to assume that it is. If this bears out in the election, it means a lot, not just for Donald Trump's re-election, but for the Republican Party, if they can build on what Trump seems to have accomplished here. So let me just give you a couple of headlines and some quotes, and I'll put my comments in there as I usually do, and welcome comments from all of you in the comments section. So first one, game over for Dems. Rasmussen, Emerson numbers on black voter approval for Trump. So what is the number that is so important? And this is what, to me, sounds too good to be true. But, well, let me give you a couple quotes here, and I'm going to put up a couple of tables. Rasmussen, that's Rasmussen Reports, they do a poll. And by the way, what's good about or interesting or unique about Rasmussen is the way they do their polls. Number one, they poll only likely voters, not all adults, not voters who are just registered, but they poll voters who have voted often in the past and are likely to vote in the next election. Those are the important voters. That's number one. Number two is they don't use human callers to take the poll. Rasmussen uses a robot voice, a mechanical voice, and that's done to keep any possible emotion of a human caller out of the equation. So maybe some human caller favors the Democrats or the Republicans, and it colors the way they ask a question, even just a tone of voice. So it's done by a mechanical voice, and then you give your answer by pushing buttons on your cell phone or your touch tone phone. Rasmussen is reporting a pretty significant fact which may make Democrats completely lose their minds. Now, I have to disagree slightly here because, well, what I disagree with, if you've been watching the impeachment hearings for the last week, 2 weeks or so, is the future tense that may make Democrats completely lose their minds. Some Democrats, I think, already have. That horse is out of the barn. So that's a slight quibble. But anyways, we could say would make Democrats lose their minds even more, or make additional Democrats who have not lost their minds yet to lose their minds. And that's because if this holds, these numbers I'm going to give you, it's game over for them come election. Now, here is the number. You can see this table of poll results for Rasmussen's poll of likely voters. I drew a rectangle around a certain number. That number is 34. 34%. That is the total black likely voter approval of Donald Trump. That number is phenomenal. I'll discuss it more in a minute. 34% approval for President Donald Trump, and that's not an outlier with other Rasmussen tallies. The average has actually gone up since last year when it was in the 20s. So right there you have an increase. But that's another point I forgot to mention. When Rasmussen reports numbers, they don't report daily numbers. They do a 3-day moving average. So that number, 34%, is the average of 3 days. That means either that every day was exactly 34%, or some days were less than 34%, and some days were more than 34%. It also would matter, I guess we won't know, whether the higher number came sooner or later. It means more if the higher number, the above 34%, came later in that 3-day moving average, because what that could signal is that as the poll proceeds day by day, that average will go up, and that this number will go up even higher than 34%. And I'm just amazed personally at the 34%. Okay, you saw the number. Next quote. Rasmussen also noted how this number correlates with Emerson's latest poll, which noted how support for impeachment has dropped. Emerson has approval from black registered voters for Trump at 34.5%. So now we're talking about registered voters, not likely voters, but it's still a high number. And I would say that it buttresses the Rasmussen numbers. Also, you'll note in that quote that you've probably already read or heard this in the news, but the support for impeachment has gone down as that impeachment circus, that's what I call it, has progressed. And it seems that Adam Schiff, he was on television on Sunday. It seems like he may be backtracking a little bit too, because there are a lot of worried moderate Democrats who were elected in Trump districts. They're really worried about what's going to happen to them if they vote for impeachment, and then they have to face their voters in 2020. As I understand it, they've gone back to their districts for the Thanksgiving holiday, and at least some of them are getting a real earful from their constituents. So we'll see what happens, because, well, the next step would be not to vote for impeachment, but to vote to send the conclusions of the Intelligence Committee to the Judiciary Committee, that's Gerald Nadler's committee, and then they'll take it from there. So it could be circus part 2. It'll be interesting to see what happens there in the Judiciary Committee. I'm starting to see a possibility that it's a slim one, but that the votes to impeach won't be there, and they'll just go for censure, because the trend seems to be that the longer this goes on, the stronger Trump gets. So Nietzsche, call your office. Which brings us to the key quote from this article. This is why this is so significant. Trump got 8% of the black vote in 2016 when he won, according to Real Clear Politics. They're referring to an article in Real Clear Politics by Victor Davis Hanson. I'm going to get to that in a second. But what matters is that Trump got only 8% of the black vote in 2016, and he won. We all know, of course, that he won. So if we're talking about 34% or anything like that, we're talking landslide. We are talking landslide, but we are definitely talking about Trump victory. If he won with 8% before and he's got 34% now, that is significant. So I want to go now to the Victor Davis Hanson article. We just saw approval of 34%. This is an older article, and the headline is, Could Trump Win 20% of the African American Vote in 2020? Well, we just saw a 34% and a 34.5% approval number among black likely voters and black registered voters. So I would say that the odds, unless there's some monumental event between now and the election, that the answer is yes. But let me give you a couple of quotes from Victor Davis Hanson that buttresses what I just said a moment ago about the significance of these numbers. Even 20% African American support for Trump would all but dismantle Democratic Party presidential hopes for 2020. Hillary Clinton lost the 2016 election with 88% of the black vote. That was about a 6-point fall off from Barack Obama's share of the black vote in 2012. So doing a little quick math here, we're talking about Obama got 94% of the black vote. So I wonder if that means that the Democratic candidate in 2020 would also need to get 94% of the black vote in order to win. The point being that they rely very heavily on the black vote. If 20% of African Americans vote for Trump, meaning 80% for the Democrat, then, as Hanson says, it would all but dismantle Democratic Party presidential hopes for 2020. They cannot even win with 80% of the black vote. So, as Hanson says in this next quote, even a small drop in African American turnout or anything less than the usual 85% to 90% supermajority for a Democratic presidential candidate on Election Day can prove fatal. That's really all I need to say for today, except that I'll put up the Emerson poll numbers just so you can see them. Here is the table. And as you can see, 34.5% for Donald Trump. That is huge if that happens, and that raises a couple of interesting questions. So first, I just want to make a suggestion, which is get those popcorn orders in early, because suppose these numbers bear out. Suppose in 2020 that Trump gets 20% of the black vote or even higher, then, well, first of all, what do the Democrats say? What is their excuse? After calling Trump a racist for 4 years, what are they going to say? Are they going to say that their black voter base, though I guess 20% of them are not their base anymore, but are they going to say that black voters are stupid, that they were fooled by Donald Trump? What are they going to say to them? Because they have to be respectful if they want to get those votes back. And then, more important, the second question is, what are the Democrats going to do? I'm just going to make a suggestion here. I'm going to make two suggestions, one for the Democrats and one for Donald Trump. The first one to the Democrats is I suggest that you listen to the black voters, because they will have sent a very clear message. There is something that they want that they are not getting from the Democrats that they are getting from Donald Trump. Now, how did that happen? That's what our Democratic friends are going to have to deal with. And as I said, it's going to be popcorn time. It's going to be fun to watch how they react. You want my prediction? I think they're going to go into denial. They're not going to admit what happened or the seriousness of what happened. I think they're just going to say it's a fluke. It's just Donald Trump. The ball took a bad hop, but they'll be okay in the next election. I think they're whistling past the graveyard if they want to do that. Now, my second suggestion is for Donald Trump, and that's going to be my next video, an issue that Trump should push as hard as he can to cement and possibly even increase his already high share, if these numbers are correct, of the black vote. So, until then, okay, there's some kind of, can you hear that? Some kind of, oh, I know what it is. They're cleaning the gutters. They picked now to clean the gutters of my condo. So, bear with me if you're hearing that buzzing now. But that's a good time to end the vlog. So, I'm ending for now. Thanks for stopping by again. Welcome to the new subscribers. Thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you would think would also like the video. Got any comments? Put them in the comment section below the video. Subscribe. And, okay, there we go. The gutter cleaning stopped. Can it have been cleaned already? I don't know. That's pretty quick gutter cleaning as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, but what do I know about gutter cleaning? So, nope, there it goes again. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to sign off for now. Looking forward to seeing everybody again. And until I see everybody again, bye.